Welcome to ISN. We're going to have kind of a short episode for you. We're going to be talking about girls' state game and the boys' sectional preview here. I'm with Dawson Thornburg, my co-host. We'll start with the girls' game. Heartbreaker in the state championship, but it's still just the most impressive thing our school has done athletically, just to be there. So what do you feel the thoughts are of the community, even though we lost?
Obviously it was a bit of a disappointment there that our girls couldn't come away with the victory. But I know for a fact that our community still is really proud of this team and everything that they've done. Many people have expressed that even though the girls couldn't come away with a win in that game, that still their accomplishments are amazing, and nothing can take away from the great season that they've had. And that one game doesn't define their season as a whole and all the accomplishments that they've made.
Mm-hmm. What are the players' thoughts? I know you've been not to practice with them, but you guys had to get your ring sized. You had to kind of take more pictures. What are their thoughts on everything as well?
They're not too upset about it. Obviously they're upset because as far like the four seniors, their basketball career is over, and the other players are upset that the season's over. But the girls, they still have some pretty good emotions going around there. They're not too upset about it. They seem to be joking around and having a good time as they normally are. But obviously, things didn't exactly end the way they wanted them to. And
Justice comes off about a 40-point game with just amazing stats. She still scored about 18 points that game. So what do you think her thoughts were? She refuses to lose. She's a very hard competitor, and she's also one of the leaders of the team.
You could see in the game the mental part of the game didn't seem to be there for the ladies. But Justice seemed to be staying pretty strong, and when her teammates weren't handling things too well, she was able to kind of take things over and go to the hole and score. And I'm sure that she's disappointed in the way things ended. And I also think that she's having a little bit more hope for next year, as she'll be the main scorer for the Indians next year.
We lost by about 20, but at halftime it was still a game. What do you think the fans' thoughts? We'll start off with the fans' thoughts going into halftime.
Going into halftime, I think our fans had a pretty good outlook on things. Our ladies have come back from a lot bigger than an 8-point deficit. Mm-hmm. But the mental thing kind of came in there, and the ladies just kind of were out of it there at halftime. But as far as a fan, fans had to have a lot of hope, knowing that our ladies have battled back before, and that when going into halftime, they were only down by, I think, 8, and they were playing bad. So if they could come out in the second half and play good, then they could definitely come out with a win, but things didn't really work out.
What do you think the players' thoughts were going into halftime?
I'm not really sure what they were thinking, but I know looking at them, they looked like they were beat there at the end of the first half. They looked like they had already lost the game, and I heard rumors that in the locker room there at halftime there was some yelling and arguing going on amongst players and coaches, and so I think those things kind of boiled over into the second half to not let the ladies get any momentum going, and that's what kind of created the snowball there where it turned out to be a blowout.
I definitely think that we had our team was good enough to beat Wood Memorial, but Wood Memorial still was a really good team. Number 34, she had a really strong left hand that we just couldn't seem to stop, and she finished around with
20-something, maybe 21 points.
Yes, and she had a really good game as well. But overall, they were good sports about it. There was nothing major. So props to them for being good sportsmanships, and props to us for making it there. So it's just incredible that we made it there, and I just think that the girls will still get recognition for getting there. And I'm assuming they still get a banner, right? We'll still get a banner.
They'll still get a banner.
Now that the basketball season is coming to an end and we're wrapping things up with girls basketball, you'll have your banquet here soon, and the girls basketball will be officially over. What do you think what their outlooks are for next year, their goals? Because this year at the beginning of the season, they said they wanted to win state. I don't know how realistic of a goal that is, or if that will be a goal for them to win state next year.
I haven't heard too much talk about goals next year. but I've heard some talk amongst people that they're looking forward to see what Justice does as a player. They're looking forward to see how she handles being the leading scorer. If she is gonna, I mean, we don't want to hear this, but sometimes players that are the leading scorer turn out to be a ball hog, and I mean, we don't want to see that out of her. I mean, with her amazing passing ability and her ability to see the floor, I hope that we can see some bigger things than just scoring from her.
Kind of speaking of Justice, do you have any predictions of if she'll get any calls from colleges, whether or not they're big name schools or maybe a smaller D2 school or something?
Oh, I mean, if Justice continues to play next season at the way that she finishes this season, I have no doubt in my mind that she'll get calls from maybe some smaller schools. I think her height limits her a little bit and going to some of the bigger schools because, I mean, being only 5 foot, maybe 5'1", that it's just hard to compete at those higher levels when the height advantage is so great.
Do you have any inside knowledge about any of the seniors this year moving on to play further their basketball career?
I know Courtney Wise is going. I think she's going to play at Trine. I think that's what I heard. And I haven't heard anything else from any other players.
So definitely if you're wanting to follow these seniors further, you can watch Courtney at Trine and maybe potentially other players moving on. But a lot of them are just looking to further their education, which is just good. Any final thoughts on the girls basketball team as a whole?
I just want to say that congratulations on an amazing season, and even though you guys didn't win that game, don't let that affect how you look on your whole season, because this season as a whole was amazing, and you guys accomplished many great things, and that's something that you can be proud of. Yeah,
definitely historic season. I'm sure they had many records, not only as a team, but about every player had a record, which is just going to be remembered for probably till the end of Union City High School as a whole. So it's going to be one of the best basketball teams, best sports teams to come through here. So I kind of want to mirror what Dawson said, that the community, as a fan and as a classmate, I'm super proud of what they did, and it's awesome that they got to go that far, which is something that may never be done again. So that's crazy that we got to witness that while we were in high school. Well, now we're going to jump right into the boys section of the show. We're going to kind of preview their sectional. And we are going to play Union on Friday. And then if we win that, we'll play the winner of Blue River and Seton Catholic. And the boys actually went to watch the Randolph Southern and Union game to scout Randolph Southern, because we assumed Randolph Southern was going to blow out Union. And it was actually the other way around. Union was up 22 points going into halftime, I think, around right there, over 20-point lead going into halftime. And the Randolph Southern boys only had like 8 points coming out of the first half or coming out of the first quarter. So we definitely have a better shot. I believe we had a better shot at beating Union, but I think we could have beat either team pretty easily with the changes we've made and everything along those lines. So I'm excited for tomorrow's night's game. It's going to be fun to play and going to be fun for everybody to watch. What are your thoughts on the first round of the sectional?
I think that definitely the Randolph Southern loss was a surprise to a lot of people. Union came out and they just played well, executed, got a lot of offensive boards. Then Blue River there beat Tri. That was a bit of an expected, but it was a lot closer than a lot of people thought it was going to be.
Tri was up on for a little bit.
Yeah. And then here with this next round with Union City playing Union, that should be a victory for us here. But again, just as Randolph Southern, I'm sure they were thinking that they had an easy win going into it, then they lost. We can't go in there thinking that we're going to win. We got to go in there and play hard.
Yeah, what's something I noticed as we were watching Union, I was kind of just give me some points to think about before we play them. Union was very patient, which usually isn't their forte. They usually like to chuck up shots, but they looked very patient. Fundamentals were better than they usually are with Union, so fundamentals and patience can take you a long way. And then they really didn't shoot too many threes, but Randolph Southern was running a 2-3 zone. They didn't shoot too many threes, but they still forced Randolph Southern to come out of that 2-3 zone because they were driving and breaking it down so easily. So if they do that stuff against us, then we're gonna have to figure out a way to combat that. But I feel like with we've had really good practices these last few days, so I think that we'll be able to easily, or not easily, I don't want to say that, I don't want to jinx anything, but we'll be able to handle Union with an easy mindset, I guess, a mindset that we can handle them. So it's going to be fun to actually play in a sectional game, because this will be my first, and a lot of people playing for us will be first playing a sectional
game. I mean, you got to be playing your best basketball right now, so we'll see how the Indians do.
Yeah. Then if we move on to the championship, it'll be Friday night. It'll be the winner of Blue River and Seton. Seton, I would guess, would win that game. They have a good point guard that can kind of shoot. He likes to drive left hand. But if you shut down his left hand, then it'll be hard for him to get to the rim. Then they have Billy Webster, who is really athletic. He shoots a lot. So if he starts making shots, then it's going to be hard for us to stop him. But if he's off, then we have a shot to win. I think it's going to be a toss-up with the last four teams, if who's going to get out and who's going to win the sectional. So I think it's going to be fun to watch. What are your thoughts as a fan going to see this game?
Obviously, with our boys here coming in sectional after our girls just went so far, I guess the expectations are kind of higher. But we don't expect our boys to make quite the run that the girls would. It'd be pretty amazing if they did. But I do think that I would like to see the boys possibly win Saturday night in the championship. That would be first in a really long time here in
like
Union City.
86 or something that far
back. So that would be something pretty amazing to see there. And especially after the long, hard season that our boys have had, it would be really good to see some success there.
I know Thornhill, he twisted his ankle, but he's been going to rehab before and after school every day. So he's kind of got to miss out on a lot of school, so it's good for him to miss out on a lot of school. But his trainer is actually pretty motivated to get him back by Friday. And I think I was talking to – I forget who I was talking to, but they said that he was going to practice for a little bit before he leaves today. So he'll come to practice for a little bit, and then he'll leave for physical training, which is always a good thing to see, because we're going to need him to be performing while we win.
So what would you say that the players' mindsets have been here lately going into sectionals, and what have the practices kind of been like here lately?
Well, during practice, we've been doing a lot of live situational things. We put a certain amount of time on the clock and say we have to come back from a 2-point deficit, or we put a certain amount of time on the clock and say we have to hold a 3-point lead, or we have to hold a 2-point lead. And a lot of the times when a player does something good, or like if I would hit a 3, or Isaac Jeffers would hit a 3, or Aaron would take someone to the hole, or Trevor Thompson or Trevor Spence would finish, we'd all kind of comment to each other like, that's all day Friday, that's all day come Saturday, that's going to be there, and everyone's just motivating each other. Like no one is kind of getting on each other about the bad things we do. We're kind of picking each other up on the good things we do, which is, I think, a good thing going into sectional, because this is it. We got to play our best. We got to be playing the best basketball. We're going to go home. And I think the seniors, Isaac Jeffrey is definitely a big leader on the basketball team, is kind of motivating everyone to do better during practice. He's had a good attitude this last 2 weeks of practice, and he's kind of been pushing everybody to get better. And I think he feels like we have a legitimate shot to win come Friday and Saturday.
That's some really good things to hear. It sounds like our Indians are really starting to play their best basketball and mentally be the best that they've been all season, and that's really good here coming into the tournament. Do you also think that the players have the confidence that come Saturday that even though they've already lost to Seton, that assuming Seton is the team that will play, do you think that the players have the confidence that we can come away with a win there?
I think most of us do, because if you look at the kind of scorebook as a whole, we outscored them in every quarter except for one, where it's been like that recently, where we'll play bad in one quarter. So I think if we play a full basketball game, not take a quarter off, if we play as our best basketball for 4 straight quarters, I feel like we'll definitely be able to compete, if not win, against any team in the sectional. So I feel like everyone has a mindset that we can win, which is what we're going to need. And I think the coaches also believe in us too.
Now, obviously, the starters are like the main thing here coming into these next 2 games. But What are your comments about the bench players, like the role players coming off the bench? Bring a little bit of energy. You yourself, Jacob Moore get some nice minutes in there. Weston Moat coming off the bench. You guys really come off the bench and give the starters a good rest and some solid minutes out there. So what do you guys? What's your mindset coming off the bench here in these next games?
As a role player, Jacob Moore has been hurt these past few practices, so he sat out. But me and Weston have been role players for the last few games, which is, I think, a good thing for us to come off the bench. But right now, during practice, I've been starting because Thornhill has been not able to make it to practice. But I'm assuming come Friday he'll be in the starting lineup. So what we like to do off the bench is come in, and I know that me and Weston, we're not expected to play to the ability of Tyler Thornhill, of someone of that caliber, but we're expected to be able to fill in for him. What me and Weston like to think, I guess, is that our job is to come in and give him a break, or give whoever it is a break, and let them come back in the game and get the job done. So what we like to think about is we want to be an offensive threat out there. So like we don't want teams to think when we come in, hey, we don't need to guard him. So we still got to be an offensive threat, but we like to kind of have the mindset that we're going to go in there, work hard give it our all for 1 to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then get the starters back in to kind of finish the job. And just it's kind of helping. We're helping the team out by letting our players get a rest.
Yeah, it takes a full team there to be able to come away with the victory. Sounds like some good things coming there.
Well, that's going to be it for this episode of ISN. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next time. Come out to the sectional game.